Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on Life at University. Been there, done that, and thank you so much for appreciating what we create for you. And we're so glad that it helps you. Well, today we have someone whose Instagram bio reads creator, student, SM manager, and co-founder Khilti Pari. Well, let's start there and talk more about this dynamic Brinda. Thank you so much for being on this, Brinda.
Hi, thank you for having me, and I'm so happy to help all the upcoming students in the UK, US, wherever they are. And yeah, I just graduated this year from Queen Mary University of London. I studied business and management, and now I've just applied for my master's course.
That's lovely. So, what are these other things that read your bio? I mean, creator, SM manager, and then you're co-founder of Khilti Pari. What's all this about?
Okay, so I'll start with creator. So I think Instagram launched in 2010 around, and ever since I've been 12, I was obsessed with the application. I even started a blog of my own, and it went really well because back then it was so much easier to gain followers. And growing up in a Desi household, my parents wanted me to focus on studies, and there was so much uncertainty around social media because it was very underdeveloped. So then I just focused on studies and made my account private. And then 8 years later, in my second year of uni, I was like, you know what, I really enjoy this. I'm gonna start making videos, and that's when like TikTok and Reels blew up. So I was like, okay, I have this creativity, I'm gonna show it. So ever since then, I've been making videos and doing creative shoots. And student because I've just been studying business management, and I think SM manager is my side hustle. I freelance as a social media manager for small organizations like vitamin supplement companies, jewelry brands, and I think I did that because I like social media. So I was like, okay, before I become independent on Instagram while I'm studying, might as well experiment and earn some money out of it so I can have some sort of freedom. So I've been doing that for almost a year now. And co-founder Khilti Pari is actually like very close to my heart. I was 16 and a few friends and I were in 10th grade. We
Mhm.
started raising money for just to support education of young girls in rural India. And the response was so overwhelming that we were actually able to um, register ourselves as an official NGO in India. So that happened in 2018. So since 2018, we're like completely legal in India, and we raise a lot more money in Belgium through art exhibitions, small fundraisers, sponsors, and we currently educate 34 girls, if I'm right, in Jaipur, a village near Jaipur, and we also fund their tuition fees, career counseling sessions,
Right.
coaching classes, menstrual products, menstrual talks, menstrual health talks.
Right.
We even provide classes if they need to see, transport from and to school. Just basically everything a girl would need to grow up. And our first few girls have just graduated from school and gone to university now.
Wow, that's lovely. I mean, it's so nice to hear the youth do something for the youth and being and feeling responsible about our duties. It's so important. And back in India, things are not as good for women as it is abroad, and to make it happen for Indian girls in rural areas is something so purposeful of you. So, for instance, if anyone wants to join Khilti Pari, how do they do that?
So they can just go on our page and either email us, DM us there, or even DM me on my account or any of the co-founders' accounts, and we'll just get in touch with you and see what kind of help they can offer.
Mhm.
Because we have had volunteers in India and the UK and Belgium, and we just communicate with them once in a while and get things done.
Yeah.
So if you or anyone else is interested, they can just get in touch with us, and I'm sure we'll have something for you.
That's awesome. I think it's a great opportunity for anyone who wants to work in that field or who wants to work in that area to help young girls, to get
Yeah.
education and right kind of education, which is the most important part. So the next thing that I would like to ask you, like going on to the student part of things, share with us your life at Queen Mary University and your course. Why did you choose to do BBA? And what was it like to be on campus?
So BBA because like so many other people when I finished 12th grade I was so confused whether I wanted to do this that I had no clear vision. All I knew was that I was really good at digital marketing and I had an eye for it. So I was going to study just marketing and specialize in that. my father suggested rather just do something general because they will provide marketing modules in this course.
Yeah.
That is why I went for it, because I was so uncertain. And I'm glad I went for it because I got to experience economics, accounting, and then I realized, okay, those things are not for me and marketing is for me. So
Yeah.
that's why I specialize in it. I chose modules that were marketing oriented and just advertising oriented. And I'm going to go on to do that for my master's as well. And Queen Mary, I think it was an unconscious choice, but I'm so happy I chose, because if you see London, it's a very fast paced, hectic city.
Yeah.
And most of the unis are just buildings. And luckily, Queen Mary is just so close to this like central London zone, but it's not in central London, which means we get a campus university, we get a proper university experience. There's the cultural diversity is insane. You see people from all around the world. And I think the career support was really, really helpful. No matter what you go to them with, every problem they have a solution. So as for that, I think I chose Queen Mary because I had a few friends there and I spoke to them, and it just seemed like it matched. So I chose Queen Mary.
That's great. Before I really miss out on this, guys, do follow her page, Brinda Patel, because there's such interesting content. To be very honest, when I found you online, I was like, this is so much fun. Certain accounts you go to just randomly, and then you feel like this is so much fun to watch. I mean, the kind of creativity and the kind of effort you put into your reels, it just shows. And the best part is it shows that you enjoy whatever you're doing. It's just right there. So I feel
Yeah.
everyone should just visit that account and go have a look, especially girls. I mean, they would love your outfits and the way you're doing your reels and everything. It's so nice and so fun to watch.
Thank you. That's so sweet. I mean, yeah, I do generally enjoy what I do, and I just do it in the moment whenever I get an idea. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. And yeah, thank you if you do end up checking out my page as well.
Definitely very creative that is. Well, talking about you being a campus ambassador, what was the role like? And say for incoming students, if they wish to be a campus ambassador, what's the process like? And what does the role entail basically?
So I'll be very honest here. I chose to be a campus ambassador because I wanted to make friends that were beyond my comfort zone. Indians, when they go to the UK, they tend to just hang out with other Indians. And obviously, that's what I ended up doing as well. I had a close group of Indian friends, and we used to go everywhere together. But I grew up here in Antwerp, and I've had friends from a lot of places around the world. So when I was in the UK for first year, I was like, okay, why am I here and just not hanging out with people that like networking is so important. So if you're just with Indians, you're not going to make new friends, you're not going to learn about other cultures. So
Yeah.
when I saw this, I saw an email that we're open, we have spaces for student ambassadors, why don't you join? So I looked up what the role is and everything, so I just applied. There were a few interview rounds and I got in, and I got to make friends from like cities I didn't even know existed. I got to attend seminars, even host seminars for prospective students, got to share my experience with them. And it was just overall such a fun and candid experience. You're representing your school, your faculty.
Yeah.
So even while you're doing all of that, you're learning so much. So I highly recommend it. If your university is or recruiting for student ambassadors, definitely apply. It pays so well as well. They pay, I think, £12 an hour, which is
Wow.
London living wage. Like nowhere else will you get paid that much. If you work in a store as a retail assistant, they'll pay you like £9 an hour.
Yeah.
So financially, social networking, and even just fun. It was so fun. I got so close to the professors. They gave me reference letters for my master's course, for example, because they got to know me so well through this student ambassador experience. Until date, even though I've graduated, because of COVID, they weren't recruit new people. They still email me, "Hey Brenda, would you be able to take on this remote job opportunity and replying like to students' comments or questions on an online tour, or for example, even like online talk?" And it's just always fun to share your experience, your mistakes. And yeah, I don't think I can talk about this enough. Being a student ambassador has been one of the best experience for my uni life.
Right. I think you mentioned something really important there when you say that when we come to a foreign university, we tend to be closer to people who are from our country as well.
Yeah,
And then we become like this tight group and we do not let anyone else enter or take the opportunity to go figure out other people and
exactly.
cultures. And I think this is one of the best ways to do it, by involving yourself into student societies or into communities that have people from various other cultures. And to be very honest, when I was back in uni, I did my master's in international relations, and I had a class of 20 people with 18 different nationalities. So I kind of got it within class, but honestly, I never made the effort to get in touch with them or to speak to them as much as I would have talked to students who were from India. And then eventually I did have a close knit group with the Indian people, but not others. And I think these opportunities give you the space and takes you out of your comfort zone and lets you meet people, get to know cultures, get to know people from all walks of life, instead of just going back to the same people that you have already been with.
Yeah, no, no, you're right. And for example, as a student ambassador, I also got to give a tour to the British ambassador to Brussels. So since I was the only Belgian student in my uni, they contacted me like, would you be able to spend a day with him, show him around? So just small experiences like this really add up to your overall personal development. And going back to your point, yeah, you're right. First year of uni, the biggest mistake I made was only hang out with people I'm comfortable with. It doesn't get you anywhere. If
Right.
anything, it just limits your growth so much. Obviously, it's fun to go on Bollywood nights. It's fun to do desi things together, spend Diwali together. And you should definitely do that, because if you feel like you want to be home, those people will make you feel like you're home. But for the rest, to study together, to even just explore London, it's very important to reach out to other people, other friends, because once uni is done, that's it. You have no more uni friends. You can't make more friends. Then it's work colleagues and just, cousins. So you really have to be out there and try to um I don't know how to explain it, but even if that friendship doesn't go forward, you learn something from it. So it's
Definitely. I
very
think
important.
conscious choice each one has to make for that
Yeah.
personal development and that holistic development when you're outside of your country, to make sure that you live each experience well. Like you mentioned that these are uni friends, and once you finish uni, it's not going to come back. I mean, today I can
Yeah.
look back and still think of all those times that I could have done more of. But I always stayed back in my room thinking that, okay, let's do it some other day, tomorrow, or whatever. But it's not going to come back. Those students from wherever they were, or those friends wherever they were, they're not coming back. So might as well live it well and explore all the different horizons that uni has for any student out there.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right.
Well, you also mentioned like things about exploring London, and I hate to mention it again and again, but I always love a fresh perspective there. That we all know London tends to get very expensive for students, right? And as students, it's also difficult to stick to a budget, definitely, because there's always this one night where we end up spending more, and then there's always this one dinner where everyone has to go, so your budget kind of shifts every now and then, and to keep up to it is difficult. So, staying in London, you've been there for a good 3 years. What would be your advice to incoming students who will be living in London or around campus? Then, how to like make track expenses and save? And are there any places that are cheaper than the rest? What should be the ideal approach to dealing the expensive side of London?
See, this was something that took me a very long time to understand. And it's tough. It's really hard because at the end of the day, you're in London. I'm not going to live in London ever again. So if you're going to hold yourself back from certain experiences, you're still going to regret it. And if you're going to go ahead and do it, you're still going to regret it. So towards the end, what I did was you have to find a crowd with the same amount of financial spending. I realized that very late, but a few of my friends, they didn't have financial constraints, they didn't have restraints, they could spend as much as they want, and that wasn't the case with me. So I think one very important thing would be understanding between friends. So if you know that okay, my friend doesn't eat out more than twice a week or doesn't eat out more than once a week, then it already makes your life easier because you don't have to feel like you're missing out on plans or whatever. So if you have that relationship with your friends, you can plan it accordingly. Like, oh, I saw this restaurant on Instagram, I really wanna visit it. Then you put it on a calendar and like, okay, we're gonna go there together. Don't spend if you don't want to, but you're coming with me, like that.
Yeah.
So that is just one aspect of it. And when it comes to like going to movies, grocery shopping, I feel like um planning your meals is very important. Just doing random groceries and then your vegetables going bad, just a waste of money. So if in the beginning of the week you know that okay, I want to have pasta or Indian this day or Thai food this way, you just sort of strategically buy your vegetables and strategically buy your ingredients rather than them going bad. And I think one way to save money is to cook at home. What my friends and I did was like every Tuesdays and Thursdays we'd get together around I think any 2 weeks, any 2 days in a week we would get together and cook together and just have the meal together. So if you want something fancy, obviously you're not gonna buy crazy ingredients to eat yourself
Yeah.
on yourself. So what we did was we ate together. Alternatively, we all cooked, and it just worked out.
Yeah.
So I think a group of friends who has this understanding is very important. And then obviously luxury shopping and everything, it's up to you. You need to set a budget and say that okay, if I want these shoes, I need to compromise on this. But I think as long as you have a monthly idea of okay, monthly I want to spend only £250 on leisure, shopping, food, then you can divide it accordingly. And one thing that helped me was Monzo. I'm sure you're aware of it. Like you said, you're opening a card. So what I used to do is obviously you have your main account, and whether I have all of my 6 months worth money or just 2 months worth money in that, I would only transfer what I want to use in that week to the Monzo. And
Right.
if it goes out of control, then obviously I have my backup money, but the Monzo just keeps me like to my limits. Okay, but and Monzo gives you notification like, okay, you just spend this much at a grocery store, you spend this much at for transport. So I think that really helped to have some sort of a second account that logs everything you do.
I think I do that till date. I have my main account and then
But
I
it can get
have,
messy, like I said.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. So go ahead.
I was just saying, I think I do it till date. Again, it took me also a really, really long time to understand how to manage my expenses. And the minute I understood, the one thing I did was have a main account and have Monzo. And whatever I needed to spend, I used to transfer it to my Monzo straight away. And I would just
Yeah,
use that money and would not touch my main account. Obviously, like you mentioned, that I did have a backup in case I ran out of money, but this exercise really helped me, and it helped me to an extent where I still do it, like even after finishing uni and everything done and dusted, but now still I maintain that habit with me. But another thing that you beautifully mentioned is, I think no one has ever mentioned this, but I know this is such an important point, is to make sure that you are in a circle of friends who understand the kind of
yeah,
expectations you have from yourself with regards to your budget. If you have decided to go out once, then they should be able to understand that your budget restricts you going out only once. And if there is something that needs
mm,
to be done as a group, then maybe reschedule it. Maybe put it on your calendar for the next month or the third week or the second week, something like that. And no one has ever mentioned this, but this is one of the top things, because I feel if
yeah,
you're living alone, you can still restrict yourself to anything, but it's the friend circle always that pushes you, or the peer pressure. Okay, let's
exactly.
do this
Yeah,
also. Okay, let's go to this party also. Oh, three Bollywood nights in a row. Let's go to all three because the circle is going. Yeah, my friends are going. And if you have that kind of understanding with your friends, then they understand and you understand, and then it becomes like a mutual,
yeah,
budget
exactly.
thing.
Like in my second year, I hung out with friends whose they let's just say they had no limits to how much they were allowed to spend from their parents, for example. So I didn't realize, but it was so difficult for me to keep up with them that I only realized when I finished that year, like before when I came back home and I was just calculating how much I spent. I was like, wow, it's a significant amount more than what I spent in year one, and I instantly saw the shift of friend group, and I'm like, okay, wow, I need to figure this out because I can't do the same in year three. And like you said, even a lot of my friends, I kept telling them, like, I can't hang out with you so many times if you're going to go to a five-star restaurant whenever you want.
Yeah.
And like, they'd be like, hey, I'll pay for you, I'll pay for you. I'm like, no, I don't need you to pay for me. I just
Right.
need to control my spending. It's not even about them. And then it all just added up in year three, which was my final year, when you've learned all the lessons and you know how to hang out with people and you know what people to hang out with, because certain
Yeah.
people understand. Even like there's certain people I hung out with in last year who were insanely rich, but they still understood that okay, Brinda said that she doesn't want to spend, she doesn't want to spend. But certain people were like, they don't get it because they've never had some sort of a financial difficulty,
Yeah.
and it's not even their fault, but
Definitely.
you have to move on from those people.
Definitely. I think it's very important to be transparent and keep your priorities out there, because you are not basically you're not making the money to look impressive to someone else. You have to feed yourself,
Exactly.
you have to take care of yourself, and that's the
Exactly.
priority. And I think that is what life teaches you by the end of it, because initially we're always thinking about fitting in, but eventually we understand that that's not the priority. The priority is that we are here to study, make sure that we have a good experience without any without any experiences that really make it bad for us. And I think financial stress can be really something that hampers your student life in such a huge
Yeah.
way.
No, no. Financial stress was a big part of my stress in uni.
Yeah,
But like I said, it gets messy, but once you figure it out,
yeah,
it's not a very big issue.
it's not a very big issue, absolutely. Well, you have studied through the last year, I believe, the pandemic, right? And there must have been like virtual classes or online
Hmm.
classes, and you've seen the shift in a way, even if it is from a distance.
Hmm.
But how do you feel that academic life has shifted since the pandemic happened? And do you have any tips for incoming students to adjust better? Or do you feel that things will go back to normal? What's your take on the whole thing?
See, in my opinion, the shift was only a big difference when it comes to seminars, because seminars were done in groups of 10, groups of 15, and you were asked to engage in class. However, lectures were always very dead, even in person, because not everybody would reply. There's 300 people in a lecture room. There'll be 5 people in the front row who will reply. So lectures, I feel, were the same in the lecture hall and online, because the lecturer is speaking, you're taking notes, you're doing your thing, and you go.
Right,
But seminars, I feel, that were more educational when they were in person, because even though the lecturers tried to force people to speak on Zoom, it did change the entire dynamic of how people speak to each other, or reciprocate to others' opinions. And I think overall for my assignments, the support that the uni gave did not change. They kept sending us emails, like our tutors, our lecturers. If you need help, please get back, please get back. And then it's up to you how independent you are and how much you decide to be in contact with the professor to get help.
right.
But they didn't change their support system at all. If you needed them, they were there. They'd reply the next hour if you send them an email about an assignment.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think in terms of exams, because we I didn't have did I have exams last year? I can't remember. They were like, oh yeah, they were 24-hour exams. So they give you an essay question and you have 24 hours to write. So
Okay.
it wasn't that bad. It was all right. But obviously you didn't get to see your friends as much, and that was different,
Yeah.
because some of my friends didn't even come back to uni. They stayed in India, they stayed in Pakistan, they stayed wherever they were from.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's
Just
I
change.
didn't think I didn't think I think one thing that the university should have considered is the fees, because they kept them the same even though it was online.
Right.
Other than that, I don't think Queen Mary at least held back on the services they offered.
Okay. So overall, it was a smooth transition from the actual
Yeah,
process to the pandemic life for you.
yeah.
All right. Let's hope that students who are coming back, they should be returning before the 27th. And let's hope that they also have a smooth experience once they're back and in their
Of course.
classes, because all universities will be beginning classes from 1st of October, I believe. So, yes. Well, you mentioned that you were a campus ambassador and you did get an email that mentioned that you could apply for this job. So, one of the most frequently asked questions on ABI is how to get part time jobs, how do we find work, and how do we gain experience while we're at uni. So, what would be your advice to anyone looking for part time jobs? Where should they be looking? And what kind of jobs are available to students, like international students?
Okay, so when you're looking for a job, you need to clear out one thing first, whether you want this job just so that you can allow yourself to spend a little bit more than what your parents give you, or if you wanted to add to your CV or your professional experience.
Yeah,
And you can't get both. It just doesn't work. Sometimes if you get lucky, then the professional experience will pay you. But if you just want to be able to keep up with the London life and earn money, then there's endless amount of jobs. There's retail assistants, there's bartenders, there is you can be a nanny. One of my friends was a nanny through this app. I forgot the name of the app, but she earned a decent amount every week just by going to their house, and reading to a 5-year-old and taking them to the park. And she was happy with that job because she's studying psychology and psychology in toddlers especially. So for her, it worked out because it could add to experience because she's worked with children in person, for
Yeah.
example. So I think if you just want to earn money, the sky's the limit. Like, it's London, you can find jobs anywhere.
Yeah.
Whereas if you want it to add to your CV, not saying that retail assistants are not appreciated. I have myself have worked 2 months at a store in during the summer because I wanted to work. I wanted to know what it's like to work in a super fast paced environment, and it has helped develop my CV. People do ask me about it in my internship, so you should definitely try it once in your life.
Yeah.
But there comes a point when you're like, okay, I don't want to just do a retail job. I need to be just growing, personal growth and learning how to do certain things. So then what my university did was every Friday we would receive an email from this careers coordinator. There'd be like, I think 10 or at least 20 jobs that are my related to my course in that email. So this could be like a marketing assistant, this could be a consultation project, or this could be an accountancy firm that is looking for assistants. And these jobs would pay. This was one good advantage. Queen Mary would always come up with jobs that paid at least 10 to 12 pounds an hour, and you just apply. They don't guarantee anything. You apply because obviously there's 30,000 students in uni and probably thousands and thousands in your own faculty. So if you apply, chances are you're not gonna get the first one. But I kept applying, and I got a social media manager job, for example. My first ever freelancing job was through Queen Mary. They connected me with a small entrepreneur in London, and I worked with her, and because of her I was able to get more clients to freelance for.
Wow.
And yeah, your university is one way, and then if you go to your freshers fair, there's so many people who come, like Target Connect, Milk Round. I'm not sure if you know of them, but
Yes.
like you can just sign up, and they also send so many emails every week. Yeah, it is sort of a spam, but once in a while it's a good email. You can have a read, and you can apply for internships or just jobs in London.
Right.
So, and then I think LinkedIn is also a little helpful. It's not always helpful because nowadays there's so many people spamming on LinkedIn as well. But if,
Yeah.
for example, know that you um, like, I don't know, the consultancy field, and you look up someone you can um, look up someone who's been successful in that field on LinkedIn, and you message them, chances are they are going to reply with some sort of advice or some sort of direction that, okay, you can ask this person, they may have some sort of a role for you.
Right.
And yeah, I think my experience with finding jobs hasn't been very difficult in London because I just kept up to date with my emails. If you keep reading your emails, you will find something that your university has sent you.
Definitely. I think I agree with you. And one has to be, you have to make the effort to get a job, and then it's out there for you because there are so many opportunities. You just have to be willing to look and make the effort.
Yeah.
Perfect. So while we're talking about uni, another thing that really affects students is mental stress. May it be living away from family, or just the distance, or any other relationships that hamper their university life and academic life. Definitely, that really makes a difference because of the shift of academics from where you're coming from and where you're going to. So, any tips on that? How students can manage student stress and stress regarding exams, submissions, anything?
So I think stress, in my opinion, is inevitable. It's going to be there in some part of your uni life, whether it's like you said, financial, for your essays or exams or family. Um, there is no secret formula for to this, but just take it one issue at a time. Don't try to handle everything one all together. If you have to submit an essay in 2 days and your mom is mad at you and you have no money, just work on the essay, talk to your mom later, and start earning money later. If you're going to do everything together, it's not going to work out.
I'm going to
It's
work
going to
out.
collapse, and it's just
Yeah.
set a priority and work according to the importance. Yes, some people might want to be in good terms with their mom before. Then you just speak to your mom and then go on to the essay and then go on to the money. If you just juggle everything in one go, it's not going to work. Something's going to be wrong at some point of uni life, and you can't really do anything about it. Nothing is perfect in uni.
Nothing is perfect in uni, and you always learn on the go. in
Exactly.
university.
And just think of it this way: in 5 years, will this problem matter?
Exactly,
No, like
exactly.
it's not even gonna be tiniest bit relevant. So just put it in the long term perspective and move on.
Yeah, I think that's another lesson I learned at uni as well. Just think about it. Will it be important in the next 5 years? Yes or no? And you know how much to stress about it. Don't think
Exactly,
about it more than 5 minutes after that. Once you figured that this is not going to hold any importance a few years from now, even a few months from now. Sometimes it's
exactly,
about
yes,
things that don't matter to us a few months from now, like a couple of months, but we keep stressing, thinking all the time, only to realize that it doesn't matter. End of day.
exactly.
So, well, you mentioned that uni will always have its own highs and lows. So, are there any things back from uni that you would like to redo or do more of? Anything that you feel that I wish I could have done more of that, or I wish I just didn't do that?
So, um, I think visit people who can help with my CV and resume. I still have the opportunity to do it for 2 more years after I graduate, of course, because Queen Mary provides that. I think other unis do too.
Right.
But while I was on campus, I think I should have used the services they offer for like endless amounts if you want. You
Yeah.
can just go up to their office, book an appointment, and talk to them for any job opportunity, any resume, any CV, any cover letter, motivation letter. And I don't think I used that enough. And then whatever you're paying for everything. It's not just the lectures or the lecture hall. You're paying for all of these services. And I don't think I made a complete use out of all of the professional services that they have to offer.
Right. I think that's very important because students must know that the careers and skills department of any university even trains you to sit for an interview, to
Exactly.
prepare answers for an interview, or even prepare your CV or help you write things on that and gain the kind of experience that you need. And by the time we realize that, uni is over.
Uni is over.
And it's important to make, and very important point again, that uni is just not your lecture classes or just hanging out with friends, but there's so much more to it. I think I kind of miss not being part of societies or doing any kind of sports back in uni. And it's important to understand that from very early on, that there are so many other things that one can do, and you should make the most of every opportunity that you get whilst you're at uni. Like even careers and skills department, everyone keeps complaining that there are no jobs, but did you make the effort to go to that
Exactly.
office, sit down and talk about the kind of opportunities you're looking at and build that CV? And they literally spoon feed you with everything. So if you really want to do it, it's out there for you. Just make the effort.
Exactly.
It's so important.
And more often than ever, it's the SU department that has job opportunities always. Like
Always.
if you always look into the website, there's gonna be something that's available. Like for example, the students union store is always looking for a retail assistant. Like and
Right.
they pay because it's your university, they will pay you London living wage.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse to not having a job in London.
Definitely. I mean, you just have to go out there and look for one, and it's always there for you.
And
And
I'm sure you've heard of Stint as well. Stint, if you
yeah,
have nothing, you just register yourself to Stint, and yeah, it only pays £7 to £8 an hour, but at least it's something.
it's something. And you have uni temps, and then you have Indeed, you have Read, so
Exactly.
many different websites. You just need to, like I'm saying again and again, you just need to make the effort to look out for it. And
Nothing comes easy.
yeah, it's not going to, nothing is going to be served to you. And I think that's another important lesson that comes at uni, that I remember the first essay that I did, I started at 12 in the night and the submission was next day, 12 in the day. And I wasn't able I wasn't able to complete it because I came from India, from Delhi University, and that's a kind of structure I was very, very used to. That start the night before, then you finish it, and you're done, you're good to go. But that didn't work out well for me, and only to realize that nobody is going to come and tell me that, Shiv, you need to start your
Yeah,
essay. You have to be so very self accountable for each and everything, for making your breakfast, for doing your laundry. You might as well not do it for 3 months, you might as well do it every 3 days. So
yeah.
a load of self accountability comes when you're out in uni, and you just have to make the effort, because nothing at all will be served to you.
I mean, that was very ambitious of you to think that you can finish an essay under 12 hours actually, but at least you learned something from it.
I learned something, and then I scored a merit in that essay, so I was happy. But yes, I failed that one, the one I started at 12 in the night. So that was a big, big lesson for me. It was like a
Always
big,
that one essay that, yeah. No, but there's always that one essay that teaches you not to do
Exactly.
things last minute.
And it was my first one, so it was like a tight slap on my face without anything, that you better get your shit together, otherwise you're done with uni in the first 2 months.
Yeah, you're right.
The lesson learned the hard way. All right, now that we're coming to an end of this, coming to the end of this talk, what would be your final advice? I know you've given some really important insights into uni life and life in London, but your final advice to students, incoming students to the UK this month and next month?
So especially because a lot of their stuff is going to be online, just be everywhere. Be in, like for example, I had Muslim people in the Hindu society because they wanted to just network. Just go anywhere. If you think that you have the slightest skills in tennis, go join the tennis society.
Yeah,
Um, if you think that you have debating skills, join the debating society. You
yeah,
don't have to attend every social, of course,
yeah,
but join everything and anything in year one, and that year one will teach you how to filter out what you enjoy, what you don't, and then you go on to year two and three and just pick the favorites. But don't restrict yourself to any sort of groups in year one. It's just gonna hold you back from any growth that you're looking forward to. And secondly, I don't know what it's like in other universities, but like I said before, keep up to date with your emails. Emails are very important. Like for example, more than Instagram notifications right now, these days email notifications really excite me. So just check your emails because
yeah.
you never know what sort of opportunities lying there.
Right. Lovely. Thank you so much for those last bits of advice for incoming students of 2021. And thank you so much for your time, Brinda, today. And thank you for sharing your experience and all the important information that you learned whilst you were at uni. And thank you once again for your time today on Life at University. I hope you had a good time sharing and reminiscing all those moments and lessons that you learned back at uni.
Thank you. It was super nostalgic. Definitely enjoyed it. Made life a little better because I see so many people packing for uni right now. I'm like, okay, wow, that was me 3 years ago. And now I'm just back in my room where it all started. But no, I really enjoyed this conversation as well and appreciate you contacting me for it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.